You know what costs most people their happiness? Trying to explain themselves to folks who have already decided not to understand. There's something powerful about that moment when you finally decide, I'm not going to waste my breath anymore. That's what I want to talk to you about today. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it is the moment you start truly living. I've spent decades watching people drain their energy, their passion, their very life force trying to make others understand their dreams, their decisions, their desires. And you know what happens most of the time? Nothing changes. Those who don't want to understand still don't understand. Those who've judged you still judge you. The only thing that changes is you get tired, you get discouraged, you start to doubt yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you something that might be hard to hear, but it's going to save you years of frustration. Some people will never get it, and that's okay. It's not your job to make them get it. Think about this for a moment. When you're constantly explaining yourself, what are you really saying? You're saying, my decisions aren't valid until you approve of them. You're saying, I need your understanding to move forward. You're saying, your opinion matters more than my own conviction. Is that really how you want to live? The truth is, the need to explain often comes from a place of seeking validation. We want approval. We want people to say, yes, you're doing the right thing. But I'll tell you this, waiting for everyone to understand and approve is the surest way to never accomplish anything meaningful in your life. Let me ask you something. Did the great innovators of our time wait for everyone to understand their vision? Did they spend their days explaining themselves to critics? No. They got busy working. They focused on results, not on convincing the skeptics. The skeptics eventually came around. Not because of explanations, but because of results. You see, explanations rarely change minds. Results do. Actions do. Success does. When you succeed, you won't need to explain. The results will speak for themselves. Now, why do we feel so compelled to explain ourselves? It's built into us from childhood. Explain yourself, young man. Why did you do that? What were you thinking? We've been conditioned to believe that we owe everyone an explanation for our choices. But the truth is, we don't. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. What dreams you pursue, what books you read, what business you start, what hours you work, what investments you make, or what goals you set. The only person you owe an explanation to is the person in the mirror. And let me tell you what happens when you stop explaining. You get time back. Time. The most precious resource you have. Think about how many hours, no, how many days of your life you've spent trying to justify your decisions to people who are never going to support you anyway. Think about what you could have built with that time. Time is the great equalizer. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but some people spend those hours building their dreams while others spend them explaining why they're building their dreams. Which one do you think gets further? I remember talking to a young entrepreneur years ago, bright guy full of potential. He had this innovative business idea, but every family gathering, every friend meetup became an opportunity for him to defend his business. No, you don't understand? It's going to work because, let me explain again, why this market is untapped if you would just let me show you the projections. 2 years later, I met him again. Know what he had? A lot of explanations, but no business. He had spent so much time trying to convince the doubters that he had no energy left to prove them wrong through action. Compare that to another entrepreneur I knew. When people questioned her business, she just smiled and said, well, I guess we'll see. And then she went back to work. She didn't argue, she didn't defend, she didn't explain, she built. Today, her company employs over 200 people. There's a powerful lesson there. Let's talk about the types of people who will never get it. The ones you can stop explaining yourself to right now. First, there are the chronic skeptics. These people doubt everything. If you said the sky is blue, they'd argue it's actually azure or maybe a light cerulean. They don't doubt because they're thoughtful. They doubt because it's their default. You will never explain enough to satisfy a chronic skeptic. Then there are the dream stealers. These people can't stand to see others succeed or take risks. Often they're stuck in lives they don't love, and your courage to pursue something different makes them uncomfortable. It reminds them of their own unfulfilled dreams. They'll never understand your path because understanding would force them to question their own choices. You've also got the comfort zoners. These folks aren't necessarily negative, but they value safety and predictability above all else. The idea of risking comfort for growth doesn't compute for them. They're not trying to hold you back. They just can't understand why anyone would leave the safety of the ship. Then there are the know-it-alls. These people have an opinion on everything, especially things they know nothing about. They speak with authority on subjects they've never studied in industries they've never worked in. Explaining to a know-it-all is like pouring water into a cup that's already overflowing. There's no room for your input. Don't forget the passive saboteurs. These are often the well-meaning people in your life who say things like, "I'm just concerned about you," or "I'm just playing devil's advocate." They couch their negativity and concern. These can be the most dangerous because their doubt comes disguised as care. And finally, there are the simply uninterested. Some people just don't care about what you're passionate about, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to be interested in everything, but trying to make someone care through explanation rarely works. Now, recognizing when to stop explaining is a skill. Here are some signs that you're wasting your breath. When the same conversation keeps happening in circles. If you've explained your business plan 3 times and they're asking the same basic questions, they're not listening to understand. When someone's body language shows complete disinterest, but they keep raising objections, they're not looking for answers. They're looking for a way to be right. When someone hasn't done any of the things you've done, but has strong opinions on how you should do them, experience teaches lessons that no explanation can convey. When someone consistently misrepresents what you've said, if they keep twisting your words, they're not engaging in good faith. When explaining starts affecting your confidence or enthusiasm, if you leave conversations feeling deflated rather than understood, it's time to stop explaining. I want to tell you about the power of self-validation because this is the key to breaking the explanation addiction. When you validate yourself, when you approve of your own choices, other people's opinions lose their grip on you. Self-validation starts with clarity. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing. Not the surface reason, but the deep core reason. When you're crystal clear on your why, explaining becomes unnecessary. You don't need to convince others because you've already convinced yourself. Think about the truly confident people you know. They don't explain much, do they? They state their position or decision and then they move on. They don't need you to agree because they agree with themselves. That's where you want to get to. Now, this doesn't mean you become closed-minded or stop listening to feedback. There's a world of difference between thoughtful feedback and demands for explanation. Feedback is specific, constructive, and often requested. Demands for explanation are vague, often critical, and usually unsolicited. Building confidence in your decisions takes practice. It's a muscle that grows stronger each time you honor your own judgment. Each time you say, "This is what I'm doing, and I don't need to explain why." Each time you resist the urge to seek approval, start small. The next time someone questions a minor decision, what book you're reading, what hobby you're pursuing, practice saying, "This is what works for me and nothing more." No defense, no justification, just a statement of fact. See how it feels. Notice the freedom in it. Then work your way up to bigger decisions. Your career changes, your business strategies, your lifestyle choices. Practice stating them without explanation. I'm starting this business. I'm moving to a smaller town. I'm changing industries. Period. Does this feel uncomfortable? Good. Growth usually does. Let's talk about setting clear boundaries because that's really what this is about. When you stop explaining yourself, you're setting a boundary. You're saying, "My decisions are not up for debate. This is healthy. This is necessary." Boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're guidelines that teach people how to be in your life. And one of the most important boundaries you can set is around your right to make choices without exhaustive explanation. How do you set this boundary? With simple, clear statements followed by a change of subject, or if necessary, an exit from the conversation. I've made my decision. This works for me. I'm comfortable with my choice. Then redirect. How's your project coming along? Or exit. I need to get going. No anger. No defensiveness. It's just clarity and redirection. Finding your true supporters is crucial in this journey. These are the people who might ask questions not to challenge your decisions, but to understand them better. They're curious, not critical. They want to see your perspective, not change it. Invest your energy in these relationships. Share your ideas, your dreams, your plans with people who have shown they're capable of supporting you even when they don't fully understand. This is your tribe. And here's something interesting. When you stop explaining yourself to the wrong people, the right people find you more easily. You become a magnet for those who respect boundaries and value independent thinking. Now, all that energy you were spending on explanations, it's time to redirect it toward growth. Think about it. Hours of debate and justification could be hours of learning, building, creating, or resting. What could you accomplish if you redirected that energy? I've seen people transform their lives with this shift. Once they stop seeking validation from those who won't give it, they find themselves with surges of productivity, creativity, and joy. It's like they were running with weights and suddenly the weights are gone. Let me give you some practical strategies to stop over-explaining. First, develop a mental filter. Before you launch into an explanation, ask yourself, is this person likely to understand or support me? Will this explanation change anything meaningful? Am I explaining because I'm unsure or because they're genuinely interested? If the answer suggests the explanation won't be valuable, save your breath. Second, prepare simple responses for common questions or criticisms. Have them ready so you don't get pulled into lengthy explanations. Think of them as conversation exit ramps. That's an interesting perspective. I'll consider that. I found what works for me. These acknowledge the other person without opening the door to justification. Third, practice the pause. When someone asks for an explanation that you don't want to give, take a breath before responding. That moment gives you space to choose a response rather than react out of habit. Fourth, find explanation-free zones in your life. These are relationships or environments where you don't feel the need to justify yourself. It might be with a certain friend, a supportive spouse, or even alone in nature. Spend time in these zones to remember what it feels like to be accepted without explanation. Fifth, keep a decision journal. Write down the decisions you make, why you make them, and how they turn out. This creates a private space for the explanations you might want to give, but don't need to share. Plus, it builds your confidence in your own judgment as you see the patterns of your successes. Sixth, recognize the difference between explaining and informing. Informing is sharing relevant facts. Explaining is justifying. I'm taking Fridays off to work on my book is informing. I'm taking Fridays off to work on my book because I feel that it's important. And I've calculated that I can still meet all my obligations, and I've been wanting to do this for years, and that's explaining. Learn to stop at informing when that's all that's needed. Seventh, become comfortable with being misunderstood. Not everyone will get you, and that's okay. Some of the most impactful people in history were widely misunderstood in their time. Being understood by everyone is not a requirement for success or happiness. There's something I call the freedom of living without justification. It's a particular kind of lightness that comes when you no longer feel the need to defend your choices to those who don't matter. Imagine waking up and moving through your day guided only by your own well-considered judgment. Imagine making decisions based on what you know is right for you, not on what will be easiest to explain to others. Imagine the confidence that comes from trusting yourself enough to say, this is my choice, and I don't need to defend it. That freedom is available to you right now, today. It begins the moment you decide that your life is not a democracy. Not everyone gets a vote. Not everyone deserves an explanation. I want to be clear about This isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's not about shutting people out or refusing all feedback. It's about discernment. It's about recognizing when explanations are requested in good faith and when they're just a form of control or criticism. It's about understanding that your time and energy are finite resources, and how you allocate them determines the quality of your life and the level of your success. Here's what I want you to do, starting today. Identify one area of your life where you've been over-explaining. Maybe it's your career choice to your family. Maybe it's your parenting decisions to your in-laws. Maybe it's your workout routine to your coworkers. Whatever it is, commit to stop explaining that one thing. Next time the subject comes up, practice saying, "That's what works for me," or "I'm confident in my decision," and nothing more. No defense, no justification, just quiet confidence. Then notice how it feels. Notice the discomfort, yes, but also notice the power. Notice how your relationship to your own choice strengthens when you stop seeking external validation for it. Do this once, and you'll start to see how much of your energy has been going into needless explanation. Do it consistently, and you'll start to reclaim that energy for things that actually matter to you. Remember this, the people who matter in your life don't need constant explanations, and the people who demand constant explanations don't matter much in your life. I want you to think about the dreams you have, the goals you're pursuing, the life you're building. Now imagine pursuing those dreams without the drag of justifying every step to people who don't get it. Imagine the speed you could achieve, the focus you could maintain, the joy you could feel. That's what's available to you when you stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. You know, I've seen so many talented people get stuck in the explanation trap. They have these brilliant ideas, these bold aspirations, but they spend so much time defending their vision that they never get around to creating it. Don't let that be you. Your life is too short and your potential is too great to waste your days trying to make others understand what they're not ready to see. Some will get it, some won't. Move forward anyway. Think about the people you admire most. The innovators, the creators, the leaders, the ones who changed their industries or their communities. Do you think they waited until everyone understood their vision? Do you think they spent their precious hours convincing the skeptics? No, they got to work. They showed results. They let their success do the talking. You can explain, or you can achieve. Most of the time, you can't do both with the same intensity. Choose achievement. Let the results speak for themselves. I'll leave you with this thought. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it is the moment you start truly living your own life. It's the moment you claim your time and energy for your own purposes. It's the moment you declare that your path is valid, whether others understand it or not. That moment can be right now if you choose it. That freedom can be yours today if you claim it. Stop explaining. Start achieving. The right people will understand, not because you convince them, but because your results will be impossible to ignore. Your time is precious. Your energy is limited. Your potential is vast. Use your resources wisely. Focus on those who support your vision and on bringing that vision to life. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Some people will never get it, and that's not your problem. It's theirs. So from this moment forward, make this your mantra. I know my worth. I know my path. Then watch how quickly you move forward when you're no longer weighted down by the need for universal approval. The life you want is waiting on the other side of that decision. The success you seek becomes so much more accessible when you stop spending your energy on explanations and start investing it in actions. This is your life. You don't need permission to live it your way. You don't need approval to follow your heart. And you certainly don't need to explain yourself to people who have already decided not to understand. Now go out there and build something so great that no explanation will be necessary. Let your life be your message. Let your success be your explanation. The world doesn't need more explainers. The world needs more doers. Remember, your job isn't to make everyone understand. Your job is to live a life so authentic and successful that understanding becomes irrelevant. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. Start showing the world what you're capable of when you focus on results instead of approval. The shift happens today if you decide it does. This moment, this conversation, this can be the turning point where you reclaim your energy from needless explanation and invest it in meaningful action. I believe in your ability to make this change. I believe in the power of your focused energy. I believe in what you'll create when you stop explaining and start achieving. Now, what will you do with the energy you reclaim? What will you build with the time you save? What dreams will you bring to life when you're no longer dragged down by the need to justify your path? These aren't just rhetorical questions. They're invitations to reimagine your life without the burden of unnecessary explanation. They're prompts to help you see the possibilities that open up when you refuse to waste your breath on those who've decided not to think about it. Really think about it. What becomes possible for you when you let go of the need to be understood by everyone? That possibility is what I want you to focus on as you move forward. Not the discomfort of setting boundaries, not the fear of being misunderstood, but the freedom and power that come from living on your own terms. This is your time. This is your life. Claim it fully by refusing to explain it away. Remember, at the end of your life, you won't regret the people who didn't understand you. You'll only regret the time you wasted trying to make them understand. Choose wisely. Choose yourself. Choose action over explanation every single time. The world is waiting for what only you can create. Don't keep it waiting while you try to convince the doubters. They'll come around when they see your results, or they won't. Either way, you'll be too busy succeeding to notice. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. Start living the life that will eventually explain everything for you. The choice is yours. And I hope you make it right now. Because your time is too precious, your gifts are too valuable, and your potential is too great to waste another moment explaining yourself to those who have already decided not to understand. Your life is calling. Answer it with action, not explanation. Your future is waiting. Claim it with confidence, not justification. Your success is brewing. Let it speak for itself. Stop explaining. Start living. The difference will amaze you. And that's a promise you can take to the bank. You know what fascinates me? How quickly things change once you make this decision. It's almost like magic, but it's not magic at all. It's simply the natural result of redirecting your energy to productive purposes. I've seen people transform practically overnight. One day, they're caught in endless cycles of explanation and justification, and the next, they're making remarkable progress on goals they put off for years. All because they decided their time was too valuable to waste on explanations that don't matter. There's a certain look people get when they make this shift. Their eyes get clearer. Their posture improves. Their voice becomes more confident. They move differently through the world. They become magnetic in a way they weren't before. And it all stems from this one decision. I'm not explaining myself anymore to people who don't get it. This isn't pride. It's not arrogance. It's self-respect. It's the recognition that your life purpose isn't to make everyone understand and approve of your choices. Your purpose is much bigger than that. I've often said that success leaves clues. Well, here's a clue you can bank on. Successful people guard their energy fiercely. They don't spend it trying to win over critics or skeptics. They spend it building, creating, learning, growing, and connecting with those who support their vision. Think about how differently your days would unfold if you stopped all unnecessary explaining. The mental space that would open up, the emotional energy you'd reclaim, the clarity you'd gain when you're no longer constantly defending your positions. This is about more than just communication. It's about dignity. It's about respecting yourself enough to say, my choices don't require your approval. It's about honoring your own judgment enough to stand by it without needing constant external validation. So I challenge you today. Catch yourself the next time you start to over-explain. Notice the feeling that drives it. Is it insecurity? Fear of judgment? A need for approval? Whatever it is, recognize it, acknowledge it, and then make a different choice. Choose silence. Choose confidence. Choose to let your actions speak instead. The people who are meant to be in your corner will stay there without exhaustive explanations. And those who demand justification for every move you make, well, they've just shown you something valuable about the role they should play in your life, which is a much smaller one than they currently do. Stop explaining yourself to those who won't understand. Your time is too precious, your gift's too valuable to waste on justification. The right people get it without explanation. The wrong people won't get it regardless. Focus your energy on results, not approval. Let your success speak for itself. When you stop explaining and start achieving, the difference will amaze you. That's a promise worth keeping. Your life is not a democracy. You are not here to win a popularity contest. You are here to live your life, to fulfill your potential, and to leave your unique mark on this world. In all my years of studying successful people, I have never once heard someone say, "You know what? I achieved all my dreams because I was really good at worrying about other people's opinions." No, sir. The people who make a difference, who change the world, who find true happiness, they are the ones who learn to tune out the noise and listen to their own inner voice. But I can hear some of you thinking, that's easier said than done. And you are right, it is. But let me ask you this. What's the alternative? Living a life dictated by the fleeting opinions of others? Letting your dreams gather dust on the shelf because you are afraid of what your neighbor might say? That's not living. That's existing. Now, I'm not saying we should all become inconsiderate jerks. Kindness and respect for others are crucial. But there's a world of difference between being kind and being a people pleaser. One comes from a place of strength, the other from a place of fear. Let's break this down. Why do we care so much about what others think? It's rooted in our deep-seated need for acceptance and belonging. Back in our caveman days, being accepted by the tribe meant survival. If the tribe didn't like you, you were out on your own, facing saber-toothed tigers with nothing but your wits and a pointy stick. Not a great situation. But here's the thing. We are not cavemen anymore. The stakes have changed. In today's world, the real danger isn't being eaten by a tiger. It's living a life that's not true to who you are. It's reaching the end of your days and realizing you spent your precious time on this earth trying to live up to someone else's expectations. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the people whose opinions you are so worried about. Are they living the life of their dreams? Are they changing the world? Are they even truly happy? Chances are, they are just as caught up in worrying about what others think as you are. It's a vicious cycle, and it's time to break free. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. Breaking free from the need for constant approval is like breaking any other habit. It takes time, it takes effort, and yes, it can be uncomfortable. But let me tell you, the discomfort of growth is far better than the pain of regret. So how do we do this? How do we stop caring what others think and start living authentically? Well, I've got a few strategies for you. First, get clear on your values. I mean, really clear what matters to you, what you stand for, what kind of person do you want to be. When you are rock solid on your values, other people's opinions start to matter a whole lot less. Second, practice self-acceptance. You are who you are. You've got strengths, you've got weaknesses, you've got quirks that make you uniquely you. Embrace them. Love them. There's no one else quite like you in this entire world. And that's not just a feel-good statement. It's a scientific fact. Surround yourself with supportive people. You know the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with? It's true. If you are constantly around people who judge you, who try to clip your wings, it's time to find a new flaw. Nothing builds confidence like action. Start small if you need to. Maybe it's wearing that outfit you love, but we're always afraid to wear in public. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you'd usually stay quiet. Whatever it is, do it. Then do it again and again. Each time you will care a little less about what others might think. Remember that most people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. We all have this tendency to think we are the center of everyone else's world. But the truth is, everyone else is too busy worrying about their own lives to spend much time judging yours. Now, let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who had a passion for painting, but every time he picked up a brush, he heard the voices of doubt. His parents telling him art wasn't a real job. His friends laughing at his dreams of being an artist. His teachers encouraging him to pursue something more practical. For years, he listened to these voices. He got a sensible job, lived a sensible life, but he was miserable. Every day felt like he was living someone else's life. Then one day, he saw an old man sitting in the park painting. The old man's hands were gnarled with arthritis, but his eyes sparkled with joy as he created. The young man watched for a while, then finally worked up the courage to speak to the old painter. "Aren't you worried about what people think?" the young man asked. "About wasting your time on art at your age?" The old man chuckled. "Son," he said, "I spent the first 60 years of my life worrying about what other people thought. Then I realized something. Those people, they weren't living my life. They weren't the ones who had to live with my choices, my regrets. So I decided to stop caring what they thought and start living for me. And you know what? These last 20 years have been the happiest of my life." That conversation changed everything for the young man. He quit his job, picked up his brushes, and never looked back. Today, he's a successful artist, not because he's the most talented, but because he's true to himself. He's living his passion without fear of judgment. Now, I'm not saying you need to quit your job and become an artist, but I am saying you need to start living your truth, whatever that may be. Life is short. It's beautiful. It's precious, and it's far too short to spend it trying to live up to other people's expectations. You have got one shot at this life. One shot to make it count, to leave your mark, to fulfill your potential. Don't waste it worrying about what others think. Don't let fear of judgment hold you back from your dreams. Don't let the opinions of others drown out the whispers of your own heart. You see, at the end of the day, there's only one opinion that truly matters: your own. When you lay your head down at night, when you look in the mirror, when you are alone with your thoughts, are you proud of the person you see? Are you living a life that's true to who you are? That's what counts. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but what about my job? What about my relationships? Won't I alienate people if I stop caring what they think? Let me clear something up. Stopping caring about what others think doesn't mean being rude or inconsiderate. It doesn't mean ignoring all feedback or living in a bubble. It means filtering the noise. It means understanding the difference between constructive criticism and baseless judgment. It means valuing your own opinion of yourself above the opinions of others. In your job, focus on doing good work, on adding value, on being someone of integrity. That's what truly matters, not whether your coworker likes your new haircut or thinks your idea is too out there. In your relationships, surround yourself with people who appreciate the real you, who encourage you to grow, who support your dreams, who love you not despite your quirks, but because of them. Those are the relationships worth investing in. When you start living authentically, when you stop trying to please everyone, you will find that the right people are drawn to you. You will form deeper, more meaningful connections, because there's nothing more attractive than someone who's comfortable in their own skin. In today's world, it's easier than ever to get caught up in what others think. We are constantly bombarded with carefully curated images of other people's lives. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, to feel like we are not measuring up. But remember this, social media is a highlight reel, not reality. Nobody posts about the boring Tuesday when nothing happened. Nobody shares their moments of self-doubt, their failures, their struggles. What you are seeing is a filtered, edited version of reality. So the next time you find yourself scrolling through your feed, feeling inadequate, remember this: You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. It's not a fair comparison, and it's not a game worth playing. Instead, use social media as a tool. Use it to connect with like-minded people, to share your authentic self, to inspire and be inspired. But don't let it dictate your self-worth. Don't let the number of likes on a post determine how you feel about yourself. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but I have always cared what others think. It's just who I am. I can't change. Let me tell you something. That's not true. It's a belief, not a fact. You see, caring what others think is a learned behavior. We weren't born worrying about other people's opinions. Watch a toddler sometime. They don't care what anyone thinks about their dance moves or their artwork. They are fully, unapologetically themselves. So if we learn to care too much about others' opinions, we can unlearn it too. It takes time, it takes effort, but it's absolutely possible, and it's absolutely worth it. Start small. Practice making decisions based on what you want, not what you think others want from you. It could be as simple as choosing a meal at a restaurant based on what you are craving, not what you think is the right choice, or speaking up in a meeting when you have an idea, even if you are afraid others might not like it. Each time you do this, you are flexing a muscle. You are teaching your brain that it's safe to be yourself, that the world doesn't end when you prioritize your own thoughts and feelings. Over time, this muscle will get stronger. You will find it easier and easier to live authentically, to make choices based on your own values and desires rather than the imagined judgments of others. One of the biggest reasons we care so much about what others think is our fear of failure. We are afraid of messing up, of looking foolish, of not measuring up. Failure's not just okay, it's necessary. Show me a successful person and I will show you someone who's failed more times than you can count. The difference is, they didn't let those failures define them. They didn't let the fear of what others might think stop them from trying again. Failure is how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we figure out what works and what doesn't. If you are not failing, you are not pushing yourself hard enough. You are playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone. And let me tell you, nothing remarkable ever came from a comfort zone. So I want you to start reframing failure. Instead of seeing it as something to be avoided at all costs, see it as a stepping stone. See it as valuable data. When you fail, don't beat yourself up. Don't worry about what others might think. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow? And remember, the people who judge you for your failures, who laugh at your mistakes, they are not the ones out there trying. They are not the ones taking risks, pushing boundaries, striving for something better. They are the spectators, not the players. And life is too short to worry about the opinions of spectators. Now, I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier, your values. Understanding and living by your values is crucial to stopping caring what others think. You see, when you're clear on your values, when you know what truly matters to you, other people's opinions start to lose their power. Because you are no longer making decisions based on what others might think, you are making them based on what aligns with your core values. So I want you to take some time to really think about this. What are your values? What principles do you want to live by? Is it honesty, creativity, kindness, adventure? Whatever they are, get clear on them. Write them down. Revisit them regularly. And then start making decisions based on these values. When you are faced with a choice, ask yourself, which option aligns best with my values? Not which option will others approve of, but which option can I feel good about, knowing it's in line with what I believe in? This isn't always easy. Sometimes living by your values means going against the grain. It might mean disappointing people. It might mean being misunderstood. but it also means living a life of integrity, a life that's true to who you are, and there's no greater freedom than that. Many of us care what others think because we equate their approval with success. We think that if others approve of us, of our choices, of our lives, then we must be doing something right. But I want you to consider this. What if your definition of success is different from everyone else's? What if success for you isn't about having the biggest house or the fanciest car or the most prestigious job title? What if success is about being true to yourself, about making a difference in your own unique way, about finding joy and fulfillment in your daily life? Success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It's deeply personal, and chasing someone else's definition of success is a surefire way to end up feeling unfulfilled, no matter how much you achieve. Define success for yourself. What does a successful life look like to you? Not to your parents, not to society, not to your peers, to you. Get clear on this, and you will find it much easier to stop caring about others' opinions of your choices. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, but isn't it selfish to only care about what I think? Shouldn't I consider others? This is a great question, and it gets to the heart of a common misconception. Stopping caring what others think doesn't mean becoming selfish or inconsiderate. It doesn't mean ignoring the feelings of those you care about or disregarding all outside input. What it means is putting your own well-being, your own authenticity, your own dreams at the forefront. It means making decisions based on what's right for you, not on fear of judgment or desire for approval. In fact, when you learn to stop caring so much about others' opinions, you often become more capable of genuinely caring for others. Why? Because you are no longer coming from a place of insecurity or need for validation. You are coming from a place of self-assurance and authenticity. You are able to listen to others more genuinely because you are not constantly worried about how you are being perceived. You are able to give more freely because you are not giving to get approval. You are able to stand up for what's right, even when it's unpopular, because you are no longer controlled by fear of judgment. In short, caring less about others' opinions often leads to being a better friend, partner, colleague, and community member. It allows you to show up as your true self, to give from a place of abundance rather than need. Now, a powerful tool in learning to stop caring what others think, mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment, of observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When it comes to worrying about others' opinions, mindfulness can be a game changer. It allows you to notice when you're getting caught up in what others might think. It gives you the space to pause and ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is it based in reality, or am I making assumptions? Practicing mindfulness can help you recognize that thoughts about others' opinions are just that, thoughts. They are not facts. They are often not even accurate reflections of what others are actually thinking. They are just stories we tell ourselves. And once you can see these thoughts for what they are, you can choose whether to buy into them or let them go. You can remind yourself of your values, of your own definition of success, of the life you want to live. It doesn't have to be complicated. Start with just a few minutes a day of sitting quietly and observing your thoughts. Notice when your mind wanders to worries about others' opinions. Don't judge these thoughts. Just observe them. Over time, you will start to see patterns. You will start to recognize the triggers that send you into a spiral of worry about what others think. And as you become more aware, you become more empowered to choose your response. You can choose to let go of those worries and refocus on what truly matters to you. Something that goes hand in hand with stopping caring what others think. Self-confidence. You see, when you are confident in yourself, in your abilities, in your worth, others' opinions naturally hold less sway over you. Confidence, it's not something you were born with. It's not something you either have or you don't. Confidence is a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed and strengthened over time. How do you build confidence? By taking action, by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, by setting small goals and achieving them. Each time you face a fear, each time you try something new, each time you persist in the face of challenges, you are building your confidence muscle. Maybe it's striking up a conversation with a stranger. Maybe it's trying a new hobby you have always been interested in, but were afraid to try. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting when you'd usually stay quiet. Whatever it is, do it, then do it again. And again, each time it gets a little easier. Each time you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you can handle challenges, that you can survive even if things don't go perfectly. And as your confidence grows, you will find that the opinions of others start to matter less and less, because you will have something much more powerful to rely on: your own self-belief. Now, I want to address something that might be holding some of you back: the fear of conflict. Many of us care so much about what others think because we are afraid of disagreement, of tension, of potential conflict. Conflict isn't always bad. In fact, it can be a sign of growth, of authenticity, of standing up for what you believe in. If you are never experiencing any conflict, if everyone always agrees with you, if you never ruffle any feathers, are you really living true to yourself? Are you really expressing your authentic thoughts and feelings? I'm not saying you should go out looking for fights, but I am saying that you shouldn't be so afraid of conflict that you compromise your own values and desires. Learning to handle conflict in a healthy way is a crucial life skill. It allows you to express your needs and boundaries. It allows you to have honest, open conversations. It allows you to build deeper, more authentic relationships. So the next time you find yourself holding back to avoid potential conflict, ask yourself, is this really serving me? Is avoiding this short-term discomfort worth the long-term cost to my authenticity and self-respect? Something that's become increasingly relevant in our modern world: the impact of social media on our tendency to care what others think. Social media has given us unprecedented access to the thoughts and opinions of others. With just a few taps on our phones, we can see how many people like our latest post, read comments from strangers about our appearance or our choices, compare our lives to the carefully curated images others present. It's no wonder that in this environment, many of us have become even more concerned with others' opinions. But here's what we need to remember: social media is not real life. The likes and comments, the followers and shares, these are not accurate measures of your worth, your success, or the quality of your life. They are fleeting bits of data, often given without much thought, based on a tiny snippet of your life that you have chosen to share. I challenge you to take a step back from social media. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week, maybe it's longer. Use that time to reconnect with yourself, with your real-life relationships, with the physical world around you. And when you do use social media, use it intentionally. Share what feels authentic to you, not what you think will get the most likes. Engage in ways that add value to your life and the lives of others, not in ways that leave you feeling drained or insecure. Remember, you are so much more than your social media presence. Your worth cannot be quantified in likes or followers. Your life is rich and complex and beautiful in ways that can never be fully captured in a post or a photo. Something that's crucial in learning to stop caring what others think, developing a strong sense of self. When you know who you are, what you stand for, what you want out of life, others' opinions naturally hold less sway over you. But developing this strong sense of self takes time and effort. It requires self-reflection, self-awareness, and a willingness to be honest with yourself. Start by asking yourself some deep questions. What are your core values? What brings you joy? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What do you want your life to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? Take time to explore your interests, to try new things, to figure out what resonates with you and what doesn't. Don't be afraid to change your mind, to evolve, to let go of things that no longer serve you. The stronger your sense of self becomes, the less you will feel the need to seek validation from others. Because you will have something much more valuable, your own self-approval. Something that often holds people back from living authentically, the fear of disappointing others, especially those closest to us. Many of us have grown up with certain expectations placed on us by our parents, our communities, our cultures, and the thought of going against these expectations, of potentially disappointing those we care about, can be terrifying. But here's what we need to remember. While the love and support of our loved ones is important, we cannot live our lives solely to meet their expectations. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. You are the one who has to live with the consequences of your choices. If you are constantly making decisions based on what others want for you, rather than what you want for yourself, you are likely to end up feeling unfulfilled and resentful. This doesn't mean you should disregard the feelings of your loved ones entirely, but it does mean having honest conversations. It means explaining your dreams and goals, even if they are different from what others envisioned for you. It means being willing to respectfully disagree. And here's the thing, often when we summon the courage to be true to ourselves, we find that our loved ones are more supportive than we expected. They may not understand at first, but many times they come around when they see how much happier and more fulfilled we are living authentically. Now I want to talk about something that's essential in learning to stop caring what others think. Cultivating self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics. We beat ourselves up over every perceived flaw, every mistake, every deviation from what we think we should be. But this self-criticism often makes us more vulnerable to the opinions of others. Because if we are constantly putting ourselves down, we are more likely to seek validation from outside sources. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a good friend. It means recognizing that imperfection is a part of the human experience, that making mistakes doesn't make you a failure, it makes you human. When you can be compassionate with yourself, when you can forgive your own missteps and appreciate your own efforts, you become less dependent on the approval of others. You develop an inner strength that can weather external criticism. The next time you make a mistake or fall short of your own expectations, instead of burying yourself, try speaking to yourself as you would to a friend. Offer yourself words of encouragement and understanding. Remember, you are worthy of your own kindness. You are deserving of your own compassion. And when you can give that to yourself, you will find that the opinions of others lose much of their power over you. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with a powerful visualization exercise. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself at the end of your life, looking back on the years you have lived. In this vision, imagine that you have lived a life true to yourself, a life where you pursued your dreams, expressed your authentic self, and made choices based on your own values rather than the opinions of others. How does that feel? What does that life look like? What have you accomplished? What risks did you take? What adventures did you have? What impact did you make? Now imagine the alternative. Imagine a life lived always worrying about what others think, always playing it safe, always choosing the path of least resistance and least potential for criticism. How does that feel in comparison? Which life do you want to look back on? At the end of our lives, it's not the opinions of others that will matter. It's whether we can say we lived a life true to ourselves, whether we had the courage to pursue our dreams, whether we made the most of the precious time we were given. So I challenge you, starting today, to begin living as if you are already the person you want to be at the end of your life. Make choices from that place of clarity and purpose. Let go of the need for constant approval and embrace the freedom of living authentically. You have one life. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is your moment, your chance to make your mark on the world in your own unique way. Don't waste it worrying about what others think. Don't let fear of judgment hold you back from your dreams. Don't let the opinions of others drown out the whispers of your own heart. You have within you everything you need to live an extraordinary life. You have the power to define success on your own terms, to pursue your passions, to express your authentic self. It won't always be easy. There will be times when the pull of others' opinions feels strong. There will be moments of doubt, of fear, of uncertainty. But in those moments, I want you to remember this. You are capable of so much more than you can imagine. You have strengths and talents and dreams that are uniquely yours, and the world needs you to express them. So step into your power, embrace your authenticity, let go of the need for constant approval, and start living life on your own terms. Because when you stop caring so much about what others think, you make space for something magical to happen. You make space for your true self to emerge, for your gifts to flourish, for your light to shine. And that is, when you start to not just live, but to thrive. That's when you start to create a life that's not just good, but extraordinary.